week after week. Chainsaw Man delivers such a unique spice on the Shonen Jump. It's ridiculous. Like when I read a lot of the series again, I'm able to predict a degree of what's going to happen. If I get used to an author, or just kind of like general guessing of the way that a lot of shonen sometimes lean towards. Unless like a chapter is just way out of left field, the following and it's like unrelated entirely, like a flashback or something. I think generally I'm able to get most like predictions of chapters within at least a good margin of an idea of what's going to happen. Chainsaw Man, I have no fucking idea. I have no idea what's going to happen whenever a Chainsaw Man chapter drops because of how weird it is. And before we get to the chapter, legit, I just want to say I love the dude's color palette. It has this weird kind of like candy colors, but mixed with this like this like gore, danger, and violence. Like you look at the cover of this chapter, which again is beautiful, and you have like this like sour apple green and like lemonade yellow and this like sugary orange, and they're all mixed on like skulls and bloody chainsaws, and it just looks awesome. I like look at the volume cover, and either one or two, they both look great. But getting to the chapter itself, we left off with Makima, who was she was attacked on the, well, it's not really attacked, she was just straight up like ambushed on the train, shot up, and seemingly dead. I feel like that she's not going to be dead because she seems like a very intelligent character to me. She seems like she's more of a schemer, and she's always got like something going on in her mind of preparing situations, and she seems very powerful. I feel like just general idea of devil hunters, and the fact that she wasn't intimidated at all by Denji in chapter 1, she's got to be fairly strong. But she seems pretty high ranked within the devil hunters, so I don't know. I just feel like it wouldn't surprise me if that was a trick, like maybe her power, she can make copies of herself or something, but we don't find out any of that in this chapter. It's left as a mystery. It's something for us to wonder throughout this, I guess, in this arc of infiltration by the Gun Devil, which I think is really cool because they used guns in the last chapter, but I didn't think about it too much of being in the Gun Devil. I was just wondering, like, oh, maybe there's just like corruption of the Devil Hunters and Makima, because of the way that she acted towards some of the higher ups in a couple chapters ago, that they wanted to get rid of her. I don't know. But it looks like the Gun Devil has infiltrated inside of the city. He's got a lot of followers, and probably the Devil Hunters too. And with that, you have like this chapter like starts out. You got Denji and crew, and they're eating. It just seems pretty casual. You got the other members of their branch, and they're just going out doing their job. And without them noticing, you got these people pulling out guns on them, getting ready to attack them. And then right after that, it's just a page of a far from the distance, you just see gunshot like sound effects, and from that just wondering what happened, because with a lot of series you'll get like the authors will like sometimes they'll kill a character, but a lot of the time it'll be like this the question of how do these characters survive, what happens to maybe either they have some trick up their sleeve, or maybe they got out but they're injured and they're going to be out of this arc or something or other. Or you'll get authors that will just like at least one person will die, and you get like a Kame ga Kill or a Attack on Titan, and maybe they'll pull out like one person at least has to die in one of these situations, or they'll kill off a bunch of people. I don't know with Chainsaw Man, because this dude, former seinen writer of a really crazy manga like Fire Punch, coming over to a shonen of a still very crazy manga like Chainsaw Man, and it wouldn't surprise me if all these characters outside of the main team were killed off. The only one that I feel wouldn't get killed off is Kobeni, because I feel like the fact that Kobeni didn't have her contract revealed in that the whole party when they're talking about what their contracts were with, she didn't give away her devil, or whatever that would be with her power. And I feel like it'd be just this good balance of the fact that she has like this very panic prone and cowardly way about her, that if she had a really good power, it would make sense. That's like, well, she has a really good ability. If we can get her to get serious, it's just harder to get her in a serious fighting like mindset, which would be really cool to have in there. I'm still very suspicious. I just had a weird feeling in the back of my head of that Kobeni might be a trap. I don't know. I'm just worried. I hope not. But back to it, we have Denji, who hears the sound. He's just like, I don't know, what was that? And Power best girl power. Power again just keeps continuing to display being best girl. I like that she's dumb, but thinks she's smart, and she's so confident in the fact that she thinks she's smart. When she says stuff, she acts like it's common sense, and she just like, that was drones, stupid, Denji. Anybody that's not an idiot would know that, you know, that those weren't drones. And Aki's just like, oh, is there a festival going on? What's going on here? And then like between them, like without even like going further into that, Power's just like, yeah, I'm surprised that you guys didn't have sex last night, Denji and Himeno. And it was just such a weird, like, out of nowhere question for her. And again, like, a lot, like, the fact that the characters are all really weird in this, you think in a normal, like, shonen, or at least in a lot of manga situations or anime, like, this would add, like one of those embarrassing scenes where, you know, some of the characters would get all blushed faced and, like, all flustered. And Himeno's just like, oh, no, he was a gentleman. He didn't, you know, go in while I was drunk. He, you know, he turned me down. You know, it was just nice. Denji's a gentleman. I was like, oh, okay. I guess these guys, they don't mind talking about this in public. Go figure, they can do what the fuck they want. But it was just weird, entertaining but weird. And this, following that, was a black flag. This was a black flag right here. All right. If you're sitting anywhere where someone you don't know just starts talking to you, and they are not, like, obligated to talk to you, like a host or a waiter or something, you should take concern, because this guy next to him sitting all by himself, this pretty big looking dude who's wearing a all black, seemingly big black trench coat, just starts having a conversation with him, talking about like, oh, you shouldn't eat your food that aggressively, you know, eventually while you start, if you eat something too much, then your taste of it will dull and then you won't like it as much. And again, I can agree with that. It was funny because while I was thinking about that, like, I remember times where I do that. Like, I'll start eating something I really like that I haven't eaten for a while, and I'll binge on it, and then I'll get tired of it, and I'll do that to something else, and then eventually I'll get back to the thing that I ate before, like white chocolate. I'll just like eat some of it every other day, and then like eventually I'll just get to something else. But from that, you know, this guy's just talking to them, and he's like discussing with them, and again, like, it was weird because Denji's just like, oh, it tastes pretty good to me. Denji's just having a casual conversation with him, and Power's just like, fuck off, dude, you don't know me. Fucking Power, definitely best girl. But while the guy's still talking to them and he's discussing, like, he just starts talking about his dad, and like, then mentioned that he was a Yakuza. And this obviously made me think back to Denji's in chapter 1, because how does that relate to Denji? Denji's dad having a big debt to the Yakuza, killing himself, and then Denji taking on the debt, you know, really laying out the plot for the start of the series and for what Denji was, you know, wrapped into. You know, and then it was, you know, you only think about the fact that that guy, and, you know, they treated Denji kind of shitty, and Denji was pretty much dirt poor because they took almost everything he ever made. And then they got in a contract with the zombie devil, and when Denji was going through that, you're only thinking Denji's slaughtering, you know, these zombies and these bad guys, and now he's getting out of his debt. But you don't think of the consequences of where that can go afterwards, and you see that in this chapter. And so this guy, you know, pulls out a picture, and it's revealed that that Yakuza guy that Denji, you know, killed in chapter 1 was this guy's dad. And this I thought was really interesting because it took kind of a positive thing for the main character and turned it in a negative way. An example, if you read Fairy Tail, regardless or not, so there's like kind of one of the things is the main character's relationship with the guy that adopted him. He really appreciated that. You know, he really appreciated that he pretty much made him so to care about other people. He gave him the ability, you know, to love another person. You know, he taking on this kid who now he felt like it was his son. And for him, as a dragon in their series, male dragons don't stay with their offspring. You know, they never meet them. So like, there's this character that's actually the blood son of the main character's, you know, adopted dad. So you have the adopted son and you have the blood son. And it seems that the blood son doesn't like that that the main character was treated like an actual son. And it was just kind of like a weird thing where it was like, because of a good thing for the main character, at one point was negative on another character, and now that is coming back to cause conflict, which I think is cool, because now you have this guy who's just like, you didn't think about this. You didn't think about the people that, you know, that lost their parents or family members because of Denji taking these guys out in chapter 1. And you have this guy obviously wanting to seek revenge. He's clearly in leagues with the Gun Devil, like even mentions that the Gun Devil is after him. And so I'm really interested in what exactly that's going to go, because I don't think it's Denji. I don't think it's Denji that the Gun Devil is specifically after, because if you think back, the Eternity Devil mentioned the chainsaw. You know, he had a grudge with the chainsaw. And Puchita, when we first saw him in chapter 1, he was injured. He was all beaten up. I'm wondering, I'm going to, in the middle of this review, look back at chapter 1, because I feel like there were puncture wounds on him. Maybe that was from gunshots. I'm just looking really quick in the first chapter. Yeah, they look like holes. They're not, at least from those parts. They look like round holes. If you go back and look at chapter 1, that could have been a puncture wound, or he could have been shot? Question mark. So just thinking about that, maybe because the whole idea that I had while thinking about that whole thing when it was revealed. Yeah, the whole thought of what I was thinking, stupid way to describe it. The whole thing about that is that made the idea that maybe the Pochita as the Chainsaw Devil beforehand was a big deal, and now because, you know, the Eternity Devil seemed to want revenge on him, and maybe the Gun Devil isn't after Denji, he's after the chainsaw aspect because he knows the danger that he holds. Maybe he's got a grudge against him from something that happened like way earlier back that we'll find out later on, and he wants to get rid of him. Because maybe he doesn't look at him as Denji. He sees the Chainsaw Devil inside, you know, merged with Denji, and he's after just that instead. And the dude shoots Denji in the head. He just pulls out a gun, shoots Denji right in the head. And Denji, he's got a chance to go, like, all he's going to do is pull the cord on his chest. And then, you know, he'll heal up, he'll go into his chainsaw mode and fight this guy. And I was, like, thinking, like, where exactly is this battle going to go? Maybe they'll take this guy out, and then, you know, that'll be revealed to keep going. And he ends up shooting Aki in the arm. He shoots Himeno. We don't see exactly where Himeno gets shot, I don't think. I just think we oh, no, she gets shot, like, in the chest, seemingly, like, near the heart. So she's in a dangerous spot. And Power's just not having it. You see, you know, him pull out the gun, shoot Aki. It looks like it grazes Aki's shoulder. And just like when he's going for Power, or for Himeno, you just see Power move, and then right in front of him, you know, and just punch the dude, uppercut him, knock the gun right out of his hand. And then here comes in Aki, who summons his big fox devil, who just bites like a big chunk out of the building. And they're all just in ravage. Denji's like all bloodied up, and so is Himeno. And I was kind of curious about this part, because now, because for one, you had, I'll just say the part before I get to the rest of it. Aki seemed much more concerned, like telling Power to stop Himeno's bleeding. And I'm wondering of two things. I'm wondering if he thinks Denji's dead because Denji got shot in the head. He probably thinks he's dead. Or he would rather, you know, save Himeno over Denji because maybe, you know, that'll have some form of feelings towards her. You know, we don't know. That maybe that'll at least be like the first little spark of their ship, the SS, what it would be, Aki and Himeno. Ameno? I don't know. But the big meat of this chapter is once the Fox Devil is like, Aki, he calls him by his full name, Hayakawa Aki. He's like, you put something outrageous in my mouth. It's not a person or a devil. And then this blade comes out of the dude's forehead. And I'm like, what the hell? What? And then you see, because, you know, he says it's neither human or devil. And here he is as a hybrid of the two. So what we're getting now is the same guy, the same kind of class that Denji is, as this melding. Because a fiend is when a devil takes over a human's body. But Denji is, you know, a devil melding with a human's body, but with a human holding control. And that's what this dude seems to be. So maybe it's because of Denji is one of these rare breeds. You know, we don't know exactly the whole story. We don't know what they're even, I don't think they have an official name yet within the series. And we don't know, like, how hard they are to create, what they are. I feel like the Gun Devil is going to be one of those. I just feel like the Gun Devil is going to be one of these, you know, humans with devil powers. And this dude looks awesome. Like, he's got like this cool like poncho hat. You know, you've seen it, like I guess the easiest like one to compare it to is like Jotaro Kujo. Is it Kujo? Jotaro Kujo, I believe his last name is Kujo, from, you know, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3 and beyond. And but you know, the way they have that hat with the bill, but because his blade is turned sideways with like his big katana, it's like instead of the bill, it's just like a big blade coming out. And he's got like, what I'm guessing are katanas coming out of his hands, and he's got like what is this, like a machete on his fucking waist. And the dude just looks badass. Like he's got like this black skin around his face, but like these big like skinned teeth and the spiked chin. And the chapter ends with like Aki again he's pulling out the sword that like weakens that it like drains life force in exchange for power. And or at least we don't know what the power is. You know, it could just give him a crazy ability or what. I'm hoping that Denji gets up next chapter and stops him from pulling the blade out, because I feel like it's too early for him to use a weapon that absorbs, you know, it's going to take years off his life probably for using, and he's saving it for the Gun Devil. I feel like it will be cooler to see him finally pull that out when that happens. I want Denji to fight him, and I know Denji has gotten really all the fights in the series for the most part. We've gotten a little bit from the other characters. But in normal circumstances, I'd be like, I want to see Aki or Power fight. I want this to be their fight. But the fact that this guy, he's a three-bladed, like literally he's got like the three blades the same way that Denji does, but they're katanas instead of chainsaws, and he's seemingly the same kind of creature, the same melding of the two, of a human and a devil, but devil is just the powers that human, you know, took control and remains independence. I want to see those two fight so bad, because it'll just be cool to see him get instead, and maybe this guy is a better at it. Maybe he's more trained and more powerful, so Denji could see one of like something to kind of like strive for, and then maybe Aki could come in and pull out the sword and take him out. I don't know. Super interesting chapter. I really want to see what goes on next. This was like one of those. This was a setup chapter that is. This is what a lot of setup chapters need this drive for, because this was hype in so many levels. You get a reveal, you get a badass bad guy design, you got like suspense of what's going to happen to all these other characters, including the main character, and you have this guy who's like the rival who is worried about all this, but he's like, I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to take out my sword, and it's like a hype sword on its own. Oh my god, I love Chainsaw Man. I can't express enough. I'm happy that it's starting. It's doing really well in Japan, and it's starting to pick up outside of Japan, which is very awesome. I'm very much loving it. I saw like it's got like a ton of fan art now, because starting to strive up. So tell me in the comments below what you think about this, what your favorite part about this chapter is. I can't decide if it's the color page or this dude, like he's just coming out with intestines and he's just got these blades. I hope the Fox Devil's all right. I like him. He seems cool. But other than that, like I said, comment below. I'd really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, but from the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.